Have you ever actually stopped to think about just how incredibly hard it is to practice truly unbiased clinical reasoning? I mean, studies literally show that cognitive errors are behind a vast majority of diagnostic mistakes in medicine. It's a staggering reality. As learners, we spend countless hours cramming facts, memorizing biochemical pathways, and studying all these algorithms, but we spend almost zero time mapping out the architecture of our own thoughts. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today we're exploring a fascinating tool designed to fix exactly that, the Clinical Cognition OS, or CCOS, Module Order Builder by Vibrounds. We're going to show you how this system brings some much-needed structure to the chaos of clinical decision-making, helping you build analytical pipelines to safely practice exactly how you think. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. We'll start with a welcome to the CCOS Builder, lay down the golden rule, explore the cognitive building blocks, show you how to construct your pipeline, check out some ready-made examples, and finally we'll wrap up with mastering clinical cognition. Let's dive right in.
Starting off with Section 1, welcome to CCOS Builder.
Moving into Section 2, the golden rule.
So, before we start chaining all these exciting cognitive modules together, we absolutely have to establish the boundaries of what this system actually is, and more importantly, what it isn't. Everything produced here is strictly a study aid. The source material emphasizes this heavily. This is a learning stack. It is definitely not a clinical decision tool. You might be wondering, why is this distinction so critical? Well, medical AI and digital learning tools can hallucinate, right? Or they can guide you down these rigid pathways that just do not account for the messy, complex nuance of a real, breathing human being sitting right there in front of you. So, it's not validated for and must never, ever be used for diagnosing or managing live patients.
The crucial takeaway here is that this builder is purely a sandbox for practicing on de-identified, consented, publicly published cases like what you'd find in medical case reports. You can easily plug in dummy cases to safely and ethically practice these cognitive frameworks. Like, the tool actually provides built-in dummy scenarios. For example, a 62-year-old female presenting with worsening dyspnea, a raised jugular venous pressure, and bibasilic crackles. By using cases like that one, you completely remove the risk of patient harm, but you're still putting your brain through a really rigorous, high-level workout.
Which brings us to Section 3, the cognitive building blocks. Let's see how this actually builds our understanding by breaking down the incredibly abstract concept of clinical reasoning into tangible snap-together modules. It's kind of like a flight simulator for a pilot, letting you isolate and practice very specific maneuvers. Just look at the sheer breadth of the tool on this chart. While clinical reasoning naturally holds the lion's share with 20 distinct modules, it's really the other lenses that make this engine so powerful. You've got 8 modules for data analytics, 6 for operations and systems, and 5 dedicated specifically to patient safety and risk. Why dedicate an entire section of a diagnostic tool to operations or safety? Because to be a great diagnostician, you also have to understand how hospital systems fail, how communication breaks down, and how to advocate for a patient beyond just writing a prescription. It literally forces you to look at a single medical case from multiple, totally distinct angles. And within those categories, the variety is just staggering. You can pick and choose modules that actively challenge your own personal biases. For instance, with Module 54, you can contrast fast, intuitive System 1 thinking, those instantaneous gut reactions and pattern recognitions we all rely on, against slow, methodical, step-by-step System 2 thinking. Or you can force active reasoning before a diagnosis is even revealed using Module 01. You can run the complex math of likelihood ratios using the Bayesian probability engine of Module 36 to see exactly how much a specific test actually changes your pretest probability. Or you can literally force yourself to take a structured pause to recheck a working diagnosis and prevent premature closure with Module 28, the diagnostic timeout. All right, let's move on to Section 4, constructing your pipeline. Let's transition from looking at these individual building blocks to the actual mechanics of snapping them together in the interface. The workflow is brilliantly streamlined into a simple 3-part journey. Step 1, supply your case. You literally just copy and paste the text of a tricky case report or drop in a link right into the engine. Step 2, monitor your chosen pipeline as it builds. And Step 3, which is the fun part, you pick your modules by ticking them in the exact order you want them executed, shaping the AI's approach step by step. And the builder is wonderfully tactile. As you review the modules on the left and tick the ones you want, each tap instantly stamps the next sequence number right into your pipeline. Make a mistake, change your mind, no problem. Just untick it, and the whole chain dynamically renumbers itself. And as you're doing this, the system gives you a plain language read on your analytic yield. What does that actually mean? Well, it might warn you that your specific combination of modules is way too heavy on raw data analytics and maybe a bit too light on patient advocacy or social determinants of health. It's instant, visual feedback that grades your learning strategy in real time.
Section 5. Ready-made pipeline examples. Now, if you don't really want to build a cognitive chain entirely from scratch, you don't have to. The system has you covered with this magnificent library of pre-built workflows called ready-made pipelines, and this just brilliantly illustrates the tool's versatility. Imagine you're a medical student dealing with a really complex ICU case. If you're struggling to articulate your thoughts clearly to your attending, you might grab the Diagnostic Deep Dive, a 5-module chain designed to help you reason out loud, tighten your language, and properly calibrate your confidence. But let's say that exact same patient just had an unexpected code blue or a sudden deterioration. You'd pivot straight to the safety and failure audit. That one runs a bias check, simulates a cascading failure, does a pre-mortem to ask what could kill this patient in the next 24 hours, and finishes with a formal failure modes and effects analysis. Same patient, entirely different cognitive workout.
And there are over 200 curated module chains for almost any situation you can think of. Prepping for morning rounds? Run the 4-module ward round prep. That one emphasizes precipitant-aware reasoning, which basically means it focuses heavily on identifying exactly what acute event pushed a chronic patient over the edge today, all while under simulated time pressure. Dealing with a tangled patient where multiple organs are failing? Try the complex multi-system case pipeline. There are short 3-module chains for rapid bedside triage that lean on pattern recognition. And there are even advanced pipelines like the Registry Analytics Suite. This suite zooms out entirely from the individual patient, looking longitudinally across thousands of cases over time to identify systemic health trends and population-level patterns.
Finally, Section 6. Mastering clinical cognition.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a second and genuinely think about your own cognitive blind spots. Are you prone to anchoring bias, where you lock on to the very first abnormal lab value you see and just ignore everything else? Do you struggle with the Bayesian probability math of likelihood ratios when you're ordering tests? Or maybe you frequently forget to check the global health or social determinants of a case. I challenge you to look at your next study case not just as a medical puzzle to be solved, but as a chance to build a specific cognitive chain that forces you to confront and correct those exact weaknesses.
Ultimately, while we must always remember this tool is just a learning stack, a boundary we absolutely cannot cross, its real power is how it changes us. Stepping back to analyze how we think is just as critical as what we know. Mastering these metacognitive pipelines completely transforms a learner's approach to medicine. The CCOS Builder isn't just about getting the right answer. It's your digital blueprint for better diagnostic reasoning, tighter communication, and ultimately, safer patient care. So, I'll leave you with this. If your own diagnostic reasoning was put under a microscope today, what kind of blind spots would a structured pipeline reveal about you?